guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you've all had a wonderful day. Today's video is books. Let's talk about books. So I realised that I haven't actually updated you on my May reading wrap up, and the reason for that was I didn't have a very good reading month. And the same has happened in June. So I think I hit a bit of a reading slump, and yeah, so I haven't I've deviated from my TBR quite a bit. I haven't read as many as I kind of hoped I would. But yeah, we're just going to talk about them. This video is also going to include my TBR for July. And yeah, it's just going to be a kind of all bookish kind of video all in one. So let's start with May. So on my TBR for May, I had The Ghost Hunters by Neil Spring. And it's the first book to The Lost Village by him, and I absolutely adored that book. But Ghost Hunters was awful. So it was 500 odd pages, and nothing had happened in 300 pages. I kind of pushed myself to get to like, I think it was like 400 or something, and then I just couldn't do it anymore. I was like, I don't understand what's happening. Well, nothing is happening. I was like, I don't even care about the characters anymore. It's just cat. It's just not interesting to me anymore. So I DNF'd it. I've already decluttered it. It's gone. Yeah, I was really disappointed in that because I loved the second book so much. But never mind. Next up, I was due to read, where is it? Fathomless by Jackson Pearce. I even tabbed the pages so that I could read it in a week. I didn't even pick it up, if I'm honest. It kind of sat on my shelf and I thought, yeah, I might get to it. I might not. I didn't. So yeah, I didn't read this one at all. What do we have next? Next up was one that I did read and I loved it. It was How the King of Elfhame Learned to Hate Stories. That's this. It's got some really gorgeous artwork in here. Let me find a pretty page. Not that they're not all pretty, but there was one specific page that I really loved. Yeah, I think it was this one. I just think the artwork on that is incredible. I really enjoyed it. I think it was lots of little stories about kind of how the King of Elfhame came to hate stories and kind of came to be the man he is at the end of the books. And I really enjoyed kind of being back in that world. I think I will have to do a reread of that trilogy at some point. Yeah, I gave it, where is it? I gave it 4 stars. The only reason I didn't give it an extra star was purely because I wanted a bit more from it. I wanted a bit more of kind of his falling in love with Jude, but I get that that's not kind of the reason this book is out, but that's what I wanted. I wanted a little bit more of them too. So there is that one. Next up, I was due to read The Host by Stephanie Meyer, and I read the first chapter and I thought, this just isn't for me. It's sci-fi, which generally doesn't bother me particularly, but yeah, it really didn't kind of take. There was some really odd language words kind of all jumbled together, and I was like, this just isn't going to make sense in my brain. And I think because I was already hitting a slump, I was like, you know what? It's 600 odd pages. I don't care. It's been on my shelf for so long. It can just go. So again, it's already been decluttered. It's gone. I'm not sad about it. So sorry, the cat's just he's sniffing one of those you know, the yellow bug catcher things, and he's getting his nose stuck to it. Stop. Stop, it tastes nice. Such a divvy cat. Anyway, so yeah, I decluttered The Host. I think somebody said there's a film of it, so I might check that out at some point. Yeah, I'm not worried about the fact it's gone at all. The next one I was due to read was Cinderella is Dead by Kalin Bayron. I actually got 8 chapters in. That's where my bookmark is. I got 8 chapters in, and it was okay. It was one of those ones where not a lot has particularly happened so far, so I think I need to give it a bit more time to kind of get into it. But yeah, it's still there. It's still got the bookmark in it, so I didn't finish it. So there's that. So let's talk about the books I did finish. My buddy read for May was Winterkeep with Nikki, and I found this one actually quite a slow slog. I felt like it was kind of an unnecessary turn for the story to take. It took a really long time, I think, for anything to particularly happen. Again, you're in this is the fourth book. Fourth book? Third book. Third book. No, fourth book. I am right. It's the fourth book, and in each of the books so far, you've kind of entered a different part of the kingdom, and each time you kind of have to get your head around the new kind of magic system in place within that kingdom, and it takes a lot. It's a lot of brain power to kind of get your head round that, because you were so used to something else in the previous one that now you've moved on. It's not the same, so it's learning something new all over again, and it was a bit of a slow slog. I only gave it 3 stars, and I have to say I am kind of glad that I'm not reading it at the moment. The 5th book is coming out, and I think I probably will get it, but I am kind of glad to not be reading these books at the moment. There's that. I read Around the World in 80 Days. I listened to it via audiobook. I gave it 2 stars. It was okay. I grew up watching the film with David Niven, and I know there are a couple of new versions out. But yeah, I'd rather watch the film. The book just didn't really do it for me. I gave it 2 stars. So yeah, there's that. And then the last book I read in May was Mortal Engines by Philip Reeve. I gave it 3 stars. I actually thought it was okay. I've seen the film and I enjoyed that. But I did start the second book and it's half unread. I was listening to it via audiobook, so it was easier for me to consume during my reading slump, but I didn't get much further. So yeah, that is how May went. Okay, so let's talk about June. So my buddy read for June was Defy the Night by Bridget Kemmerer. Obviously I was reading that with Nikki. She did really well. She finished it really quick. She said she thoroughly enjoyed it and just didn't want to put it down. Whereas I think because I was in my reading slump, I really struggled to kind of focus on it, and I fell behind and then abandoned ship. I have restarted it. I'm a quarter of the way through and I am hoping to finish it by the end of June. I'm filming this 4 days early, but keep your fingers crossed. Hopefully I will have finished it, but we'll see. So yeah, that was my buddy read. Next up, I was due to read A.M. Shine The Watchers, which I did read. It's this book. I was super excited about it. I picked it up in Asda, I believe, and it was not what I was expecting. I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It gave me the heebie-jeebies. It totally freaked me out. But I really enjoyed it. It kind of reminded me a little bit of the film A Quiet Place, if you've seen that. You'll kind of know the vibe I'm going with. But basically, Mina goes on a journey to deliver a bird for a friend of hers, and as she gets near the Conmara forest, or yeah, Conmara forest. Yeah, she get her car stops and she hears a scream. But so her car stops and then she goes into the forest, and it's starting to reach nightfall, and she comes across a building with a woman who is screaming at her to run and to get inside as quickly as possible. And as the door shuts, there's loads of like howling and screaming, and there's creatures like attacking where they are. They can't get in. It's like a secure bunker, but they have to stay in there the whole night they can only come out when the sun comes up. And there's obviously lots of different things going on there. But I really enjoyed it. It was very bizarre, I have to be honest. But I would definitely reread this again, sort of October time. I thought it was really spooky and really cool, and I would enjoy a reread. So yeah, I enjoyed this one. This one I flew through. I think I read it in like 2 days. I did really well with that one. Next up was Lorraine Brown's The Paris Connection. It's this one. I didn't even pick it up. I didn't touch it. It was sat there, or it's been sat there the whole month. Yeah, I don't have anything to say about it. I don't read it, but never mind. We'll see. There's that. Next up was T.C. Shelley's The Monster Who Wasn't. Basically, it's about a boy who is born from a baby's first laugh and a person's last sigh. And it's kind of about how he manages the monster world with a bloodthirsty ogre after him. So it wasn't what I was expecting. Let's put it that way. I finished it and I did enjoy it, but the story took a really strange turn that I didn't see coming, and just didn't kind of make very much sense to me. So I only gave it 3 stars, but it wasn't what I was expecting from the synopsis on the back. I still liked it, but it was just not what I was expecting. So yeah, there's that one. Next up was Nicholas Sparks' The Rescue. I actually started this at the beginning of the month, and it's taken me all month to read it. And it's not because I haven't enjoyed it, but it's more because I just kept picking it up and putting it down. And with the reading slump, I just kind of flagged a lot. But this one I kept coming back to when I kind of felt the urge to read, and it was enjoyable. I gave it 4 stars. I really, really loved it. I actually finished it at 5 a.m. this morning. I couldn't sleep, and I sobbed. It was so sad. I'm not gonna tell you what happens because I don't want to spoil it. But basically, Denise meets a man, and he has his own kind of personal traumas and personal issues, and it's kind of about them navigating around that, him kind of pulling away and then coming back and pulling away again, and how she copes with that. And yeah, it's kind of about the past, and yeah, just traumas in his life. Lynx is moving about, I'm sorry. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. As I say, I sobbed. I don't know if this one is a film, but I would 100% watch it. But yeah, I don't know if it's a film. I want to kind of watch all of the Nicholas Sparks ones. I've seen Dear John, Safe Haven, The Notebook. I feel like there's another one, The Lucky One. What other one is there? I've also seen, oh, what's that one? A Walk to Remember. That one was really sad. But yeah, I would like to watch this one if it is out there. I have to investigate. But yeah, I liked it. It was really good. As I say, I sobbed. The next book I was due to read, though, was A Girl Called Shameless, which is the sequel to The Exact Opposite of Okay by Laura Stephen. And unfortunately, I didn't get to it either. I think because I restarted Defy the Night, it all took a bit of a backseat, as I say, with the slump. It hasn't gone well. So yeah, I didn't get to this one, which is sad. I really wanted to, but there you go. So the other 2 books I read, I think you need to move off my book, I can't see. So the other 2 books I read were audiobooks. The first one was by Lisa Scheindow. I feel like I'm butchering that. But it was Botanical Folk Tales of Britain and Ireland, and it was basically just like fairy stories or folk stories that had some element of botanicalness. So it was sort of plants, trees, mushrooms, that kind of thing. There were lots of little short stories which I really enjoyed. It was about a 5-hour audiobook. yeah, and I thought it was really good. I liked it. I gave it 3 stars. But yeah, it was enjoyable. And then the other audiobook I listened to was Blackout, by Donnell Clayton and various other authors. So basically, it is a grouping of stories written through perspectives of um, black teenagers or like male or female protagonists. They're short stories and they kind of follow each of them either falling in love or managing love in a certain way. And I gave it 3 stars. I actually thought it was really nice. There was a little bit of talk about kind of racial stereotyping and um, kind of prejudices, which I thought was a really interesting take. It was done really well, and it kind of gave me a lot to think about. And yeah, I just generally found it really interesting. They were really cute stories. There were a couple that kind of continued through and you'd come back to after another story. And that was nice. There was one story right at the beginning, um, and I kind of really wanted more from that, but I generally thought it was really good, and I enjoyed listening to it. So yeah, you should check it out if you are interested. But yeah, so they're the books that I read in June. So moving on to July, I have no idea where I am with my point system at all. I need to kind of look at that and figure it out because I have bought a lot of books recently. Um, Even though I've kind of been in this slump, I've been picking them up when I see them because I'm kind of like, oh, that sounds really good. That'll get me out of my slump. And I did feel really guilty about picking them up because I have so many on my shelves. And then I spoke to Nikki and she made me feel so much better about it. And she was like, at the end of the day, don't feel guilty. You love books, you enjoy reading them, and eventually you will. So just enjoy them. Don't put yourself down about it. And I'm not. I'm happy with what I bought. I didn't take any of it back. Um, so yeah, I'm just going to be pleased with what I've got. But yeah, so moving on to July. So what I've done is I've already pre-selected my books. I was going to do my deck of TBR, cards of TBR video, but I just didn't really feel in the mood for that kind of um, way of picking my TBR for July. So what I've done is I've just picked a selection of books off my shelves that I'm kind of interested in or want to start and see whether it's something that I'm still going to find enjoyable, if that makes sense. Um, and yeah, I'm going to get them, I'm going to show them to you, and we're going to talk about them. Right, okay, so I've got my books for July, and I've realised as I've collected them all together that it's actually quite an ambitious TBR, considering I'm in a bit of a reading slump. But I've picked them now and I've written them down, so we're just going to go with it and see what happens. But I did want to mention that. What was it I was going to say? Oh, my brain. Yeah, it's an ambitious TBR. We're just going to see where it goes. So here is my pile. Oh, I remembered what I was going to say. So I have postponed. Well, I spoke to Nikki about our buddy read, and I asked her if she wouldn't mind pushing it back until August to give me a chance to kind of catch up on my half-finished books and on this slightly ambitious TBR that I've created for myself. I do have a few days off in July, so I'm hoping that's going to help me with this, but we shall see. So yes, this is my selected TBR. I have picked 6, 7 books. It's very ambitious. Yes, so I've selected 7 books, which I will go through in a moment. And I have also decided that I'm going to keep on my shelves the books that I didn't finish from previous months. And hopefully I might get to them. So this is a very ambitious TBR. So just quickly, I'll go through them. So A Court of Mist and Fury has been on my shelf since I actually can't remember which even month it is. But I loved A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I thought it was incredible. And I put this one on the next month's TBR, and then because of the size of it, I was put off and I got scared. So it's just sat on the shelf ever since. So I'm kind of hoping that I'm going to get to this one sooner rather than later. I've got Fathomless by Jackson Pierce. I'm not excited about it, but I'm going to leave it on the shelf because I really want to read it and just get it done. A Girl Called Shameless by Laura Stephen. I want to get to this, so I am hoping by leaving it on the shelf that I will get the chance. The Paris Connection by Lorraine Brown. This is a proper chick lit rom-com romancy kind of book, so I'm hoping that if I do get to this one, I'll fly through it quite quickly. But as I say, with a slump, who knows? So there's that, and then finally, Cinderella's Dead. So yeah, I'm not sure about this one. This one and Fathomless could be here again next month. Yeah, so there's those. Right, so the books that I have selected for July that are going to be my priority. Let's get into it. So the first one is the Agatha Raisin and the Quiche of Death by MC Beaton. So this is a series following Agatha Raisin, and she moves to a village and lots of mysterious things happen. So I actually have the first 20 books in that series. I can't even remember how many there are, but my dad bought me the set years ago because I read one on holiday. We stayed in a cottage, and this was one of the books on the shelf that they said you could kind of help yourself to. And I loved it so much. I read it so quickly. I think I actually read it twice on that holiday. So he bought me the set, and I think I've only ever read the first book. So my plan is to start this as a bit of a series because I know that I can kind of dip in and out of them because they're a bit of a mystery, but they have a continuing theme with Agatha's life. I'm going to try and put one into my TBR each month. We shall see. But this one is, it follows Agatha Raisin, who decided to take early retirement. She's moved to a Cotswold village. We were actually in the Cotswolds when I found this book. And it says to make friends, she enters the local quiche making competition, and where is it? The competition judge succumbs after tasting her perfect quiche, and Agatha is revealed as a cheat and a potential poisoner. But as she, what's the word? So she turns amateur sleuth, and she's going to track down the real killer. That was a really terrible explanation. Sorry, I should have just read the back. But I have read this at least 3 times, I think. So it is a bit of a reread for me, but I remember the basic plot and the whodunit, but I wanted to reread it for Agatha's kind of life path so that when I move on to the second book, I know where we are in where she is, if that makes sense. So there is that one. The next one I picked is kind of I'm not sure if I'm still interested in it, so I want to give the first few chapters a go and see whether it ends up being a DNF. But this is The Language of Flowers by Vanessa Diffenbaum. I hope that's right. But it just says, the Victorian language of flowers was used to express emotions. Honeysuckle for devotion, azaleas for passion, and red roses for love. But Victoria Jones, it has been more useful in communicating feelings like grief, mistrust, and solitude. After a childhood spent in the foster care system, her only connection to the world is through flowers and their meaning. When she turns 18, she doesn't have anywhere to go, and she's spotted by a local florist, and she discovers a gift through helping people through the flowers she chooses. But it takes meeting a mysterious vendor at the flower market for her to realise what's been missing in her own life, and she starts to fall for him. She's forced to confront a painful secret from her past and decide whether it is worth risking everything for a second chance at happiness. It sounds good. It sounds right up my street. I love a plant. Yeah, I'm just not sure. We'll see. So there is that one. Next up is one that has been on my shelf for it's been on my shelf since at least October 2021. I feel like it's probably longer than that. I don't know. But yeah, it's Maxine Murray's The Year of Saying No. So that is my big issue in life, is I struggle to say no to people. because I just feel bad. I feel like I'm letting them down. So I don't like saying no to people. So when I saw this book, I was like, let's pick it up and see what it's about. So it says, Lottie Wentworth has never been more pleased to welcome the new year and wave goodbye to the year of saying yes. To mend a broken heart, her best friend's scheme to get Lottie back in the swing of things seemed like a good idea. Lottie's seen it through, but she couldn't be happier to say hello to a brand new year, the year of saying no. Unfortunately, the one thing she still can't say no to is her gorgeous client and crush, Army veteran Zeb Marshall. Lottie's decision to stop trying to please everyone has brought changes she never could have expected. So when the year comes to a close, she may find herself with a big question to answer. Will she say yes or no? It's very kind of chick litty, and I'm hoping it's going to be a good one. But yeah, it's been here for a while, so that's why I picked it up. Next up, I am trying to get through my Nicholas Sparks books. So the next one is Message in a Bottle. And yes, I have all of them. I think I may be missing one actually, which is his newest one. But I have the whole set. So my plan is again to try and put in a Nicholas Sparks book each TBR as well, so I can kind of make a dent on those because they have been here for a long time. I am struggling with what to do about the ones that I don't love so much, whether to kind of break up the set and declutter the ones that I didn't love as much, or I just keep the whole lot together because I love his stories. So yeah, I'm not sure. We'll have to revisit that. But it says, when journalist Teresa Osborne finds a desperate message washed up on Cape Cod Beach, it raises questions that intrigue her. Who is the author? A man called Garrett, and who is the Catherine, and what is it that tore them apart? Teresa, wary of romance since her husband shattered her trust, finds herself unaccountably drawn to these people and their secrets and embarks on a search that brings her to an unexpected confrontation. I think it sounds really good. As I say, I read The Rescue this month and loved it, so I'm hoping to enjoy this one. I may see if I can find one of his films after I film this video, and I will watch one. So yeah, there's that one. Next up is Anne Frank in the Secret Annex, Who Was Who. So I read A Diary of Anne Frank in April, I believe. And this is one of the other books I bought when I visited Amsterdam and went to the Anne Frank house. I have this one and another one up there. And this one's only a short book. It's less than 160 pages. But yeah, it's just the who was who of who was kind of in her diary. It just says, these personal portraits give us a glimpse of their lives from before, during, and after the hiding period. What was it like to spend every day in hiding? How did they relate to each other? How were their helpers able to get how were their helpers able to do their office work on top of having 8 extra mouths to feed? Yeah, I'm excited to get to it. There's a lot of kind of pictures and things in there, so I don't think it'll be a particularly long read, but it might be a bit draining on my slumpy brain. So I don't think I'll probably start with this one, or maybe I'll just read a little bit every now and again. Lynx is kind of wobbling about. Sorry, I thought you were going to go then. But yeah, so there's that one. 2 more to go. The next one I actually picked up in a charity shop recently. Oh, that's really upsetting. I've only just noticed that. Okay, maybe it doesn't matter so much. So I picked this up in a charity shop, and it is Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury. It is a really battered copy, and I've just noticed, and I want to cry, that the back 3 pages look like this. It is completely like torn apart, and there's holes in it, so I'm assuming it was probably attacked by a dog, I imagine, or a cat or something. But luckily it has just torn out the afterword. So yeah, I assume the rest of the story is in here, but we shall find out. That's made me feel really sad. But it just said says, it's the week before Halloween and Cougar and Duck's Pandemonium Shadow Show has come to the green town of Illinois. The siren song of the Calliope entices all with promises of youth regained and dreams fulfilled, as two boys trembling on the brink of manhood set out to explore the mysteries of the dark carnival smoke, mazes, and mirrors, where they also discover the true price of innermost wishes. I've heard some really interesting things about it, so when I saw it in the charity shop, I picked it up. It was £1, which I feel is a bit unreasonable considering its condition, but never mind. It went to charity. I'm okay with that. And then finally is another chick-lit. So this one I've put in because my friend bought it, and she it's my friend I worked with, and she has recently moved away, so I'm sad about it. But yeah, so she's recently moved away, and we both have love of books, and she said we went to Tesco's and she picked this up and she gave it to me and she said, you read it first and then you can give it back to me when we meet up. And it means that you have to meet up with me and keep in touch because you have my book. Which obviously I would have kept in touch with her anyway. She's great. But yeah, so I have put this one on here so that I can read it and then give it back to her. But it's Three Weddings and a Proposal by Sheila O'Flanagan. And it says, Delphi has enjoyed wrong-footing her family at her brother's nuptials with her +1, whose presence has stopped any of them asking again why she's still single. But the day takes a dramatic turn when she sees all the missed calls, and it's not good news. Up until now, Delphi has been living her best life, loving her job, her friends, her no-strings relationships, and her dream house by the sea. Suddenly, much of that can be snatched away. At her lowest ebb, she's drawn into a love affair she didn't see coming. But is taking the easiest road to happiness right for Delphi, or is the future she's meant to have one worth fighting for? So yeah, it sounds really good. I know why my friend picked it up. She loves a story like this. I'm hoping I enjoy it too. It's not necessarily one I would have picked up initially, but hopefully it'll be good and then I can chat to her about it. But yes, so there is my incredibly ambitious TBR for July. Let's just rotate you. There it is. Those books. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 books. I can guarantee that these 5 that I forgot about or didn't get to for the last 2 months may possibly still be here. However, these ones I'm hoping to make a bit of a dent in. But as I say, I've got some days off in July, so I'm hoping to kind of make a crack on those. I'm feeling good about reading again. I don't know if that means I'm out of my slump or just today is a good reading day, but we shall see. So wish me luck, keep your fingers crossed. If you've read any of these, let me know your thoughts without spoilers. And yeah, take care, and I will see you guys with an update, hopefully a better one, at the end of July. Bye.